Hi everyone, welcome back to the summit. I am super excited today. I have got a very special guest that's actually an old friend of mine that I've known for quite a few years. We met many years ago on an entrepreneur cruise across the Atlantic Ocean, and I interviewed Alex at that time. And if anyone wants to see that video, I'm going to post it underneath this video because it has had so many views and it's still to this day very, very relevant to the influencer marketing industry. And I actually interviewed her that many years ago because I already saw the importance of influencer marketing back then. And I'm so lucky to have Alex here today. She's actually on a trip at the moment. So we've got her in her hotel room. We've managed to capture her for just this interview, which is fantastic. Alex has got a very, very interesting story. And I can tell you right now, compared to all the other influencers that we do have on this summit, this interview today is all about working with influencers for free. So, Alex is a person who you would expect to want a lot of money for what she does, but she's going to explain to you why her whole philosophy is around working with her brands for free, with different brands for free. Her philosophy is pretty amazing and very, very unique. So Alex's background is that she actually is the editor-in-chief at Travel Fashion Girl. It is a blog where she gets almost 1 million visitors a month on that blog. It has been around for, I think it's 7 or 8 years now already, and she is doing fantastically on that. She's got an amazing following on Instagram as well. She does YouTube. She's all over the place, and you can see her everywhere. And the thing that's really unique about Alex is that she talks about traveling lightly, packing lightly for women. So she's going to tell us more about that. Let's get into it. So Alex, great to have you here. Thank you for joining us today.
Hi, thank you so much for having me. I'm happy and excited to be back and helping you out again, getting the word out about influencer marketing.
Yeah, the last time we spoke, well, we've spoken since then. The last time we did an interview together was about that 2 years ago. And in that interview, I have had so many people still telling me that information is so relevant, and you've got some really amazing things that you've gone through in your time as an influencer. And I think you're one of the first ones. You were there right at the beginning of influencer marketing. So can you tell us a little bit about your history of how long you've been around and how your journey began?
Well, Travel Fashion Girl started in August of 2012. I had been traveling full-time for about 4 years, and I was personally just tired of carrying around a very heavy backpack. But more than anything, I was tired of having all the wrong things and overpacking all the wrong things. So I set out to find information online and see if I could find some tips on how to pack light. And all I found were tips that seemed to be more, I think, directed towards a male traveler and maybe more of an outdoorsy male traveler, because they talked about having 3 pairs of underwear, 5 quick dry tees, and a pair of convertible pants. And I mean, come on, I'm a girl. I'm not going to rewear my underwear, as it was suggesting that wear my underwear without washing, between washes, as those packing lists suggested. Plus, I do want makeup. I want to look like myself, but I also want to be functional too. So I set out to start researching, trying to figure out a solution to my own personal dilemma, my packing dilemma. And in my travels, I spent about a year interviewing girls at hostels and guest houses, getting their feedback and seeing if they also felt frustrated about packing. And it turns out that they did. So I launched this website, and it was received immediately very well. We had 100,000 monthly visitors by the end of the first year. And now, over 6 years later, we now have almost 1 million monthly visitors, and it continues to grow. So it's very exciting.
Fantastic. I love the fact that your story is very organic and natural, and it all came from a place that not only for yourself, but people that you saw needing the same help that you needed. And I think that's what makes you being an influencer very positive and very helpful, because you are able to really help people. You know that there's a lot of people that need the help that you're actually providing.
That really, I think, regardless of what business or industry you're in, if you find something that you actually feel passionate about, something that you're very knowledgeable about, then it's more organic. And luckily for me, well, in 2012, 2011, when I really started blogging, there wasn't that much information about blogging. And I kind of heard about people making money online, but it really was it wasn't something that I set out to do. Not like now. There wasn't, all these people on Facebook claiming you could make 6 figures as a blogger and all that. So it was just something that I wanted to do. And if it made money, awesome. But as a natural entrepreneur, I think I kind of led the website as kind of in a very professional business format. So I think that's also part of its success as well.
Fantastic. And so I think there's a lot of influencers at the moment that are just on Instagram, and that's all they do. They just promote themselves on Instagram and they don't have any other platforms. Whereas you actually have your blog, and that's sort of your main hub of where everything comes from. And we do have some other influencers that I've interviewed on this summit, and they're in that same situation, and they find that that's sort of the base. Do you agree that with you, it's sort of like your base and then everything else spans out from your blog?
Definitely. I think at this point, currently, what it is possible to be an Instagram influencer and not have a blog and not have anything else and make money. And a big part of that is because brands still don't exactly know how to work with influencers. So there's a lot of opportunity there for influencers to actually get free stays or make money with big brands looking for that magic influencer, whatever, to get them to stardom. So in that case, I think also while you can be an Instagram influencer, I think some people are starting to kind of pivot towards a more long-lasting channel such as YouTube, where it's more your own content, you have your own platform and blogs. But for me, my main hub is the blog, and then I use the social media outlets to extend as an extension of the blog to reach the community, to talk to people, to share different kind of content, and more than anything, really to connect one-on-one with them.
Fantastic. So when you were on my last interview, when I interviewed you last time, you spoke about a client that you worked with that you made a lot of money for. So maybe you can tell us a little bit about that particular story, because I know everyone here that is watching, they're merchants and they're sitting there going, yeah, but what are the results I'm going to get? And you've had some pretty great results. So that particular story about the pants, but then anything else, if you've got some other results that you've had since we last spoke that you want to share with us as well?
Well, I continue to have a really successful relationship with that company, and they did a lot of things early on. And the person that was in charge of this, actually, he and the owner, I remember when he first reached out to me, when I first started my blog, it was just 2 months old. The owner and the designers had resistance. They didn't want to work with bloggers. What was that about? That wasn't their business model. They worked with sales rep and wholesales and wholesale. They had a completely different business format. So this guy went against the grain, contacted me, sent me some clothing. I was a brand new blogger. Of course, I was excited someone would want to send me $2,000 worth of travel clothing. And which they did. And I learned very early on what it felt like to one, connect with a company that you want to promote, and they still haven't actually paid me to do something since then. And we've been now working together for almost 6 years. I do get commission, but they've never said, Alex, you need to do this for me, and I'm going to give you clothes or whatever it is. They've never demanded anything of me. And with that, I was able to get so much experience just from that first partnership, I suppose. They reached out to me. They took a chance on me as a very new, small, niche blogger. So they did that right, which is what people are looking to do now. So they were really forward thinking and also testing out their own commission system and everything. So now that continues to do well. And part of the reason why I am happy to work with them and to continue working with them is because they don't ask me to do anything, I suppose. They trust that I know how to speak to my audience. They trust that if I feel passionate, if I feel like I really like one of their clothing items, that I'll talk about it. And there's many times where